Hello, thank you for tuning in. You are tuned in to The Encourager. And as always, thank you to our subscribers. The channel continues to grow on a daily basis. So thank you, subscribers, and those who tune in on a regular basis or were guided to this channel, perhaps for the first time. Thank you. What I would like to speak on briefly, and later on I will be sharing some messages and downloads for the collective, for the chosen, for the 144,000 as we're referred to often. Light workers, starseeds, healers, empaths, alchemists, ascended masters. So stay tuned for that. I'll be posting that later, earlier. I was awakened today, this morning. It is Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, as they refer to it. It's a global event, apparently. I don't follow sports like that today. And so this one I'll probably watch some. And again, maybe only the highlights. But wherever you are, maybe you're having a get-together. I hope it turns out well. I hope it's a good time. I hope it's safe. And, hope it's good music, good food, good game. I'm not rooting for one or the other. I do think the evolution of sports is interesting. And so we waited since the beginning, since the invention of the sport, we waited how many decades to see a quarterback win 7 Super Bowls. And then shortly after, or actually before he's getting ready to retire, this kid comes along named Patrick Mahomes, who is having the opportunity to win his 3rd in like 4 or 5 years. So it's funny how that happens. And one day there will be I don't think there'll ever be someone who has 11 NBA championship rings like Bill Russell, but I definitely think there'll be a superstar that comes along and they'll have more than 6, and they'll win more than 3 three-peats or 2 three-peats, and so they'll break all those whatevers that Michael said, right, or whatever. It's just, so I think that's more fascinating. Montana, Terry Bradshaw, they won 4. And so I think it's interesting that Tom Brady won 7, and then that took 4 decades, right? And then to go from, or 3, to go from the 80s, 4, to go from the 80s, Joe Montana, who was the last quarterback to win 4, to Tom Brady. And now, before he even retires, here comes Patrick Mahomes, who's at least showing that possibility, right? And so I just think that's interesting, and far more interesting than actually watching the game is that. But anyway, I want to share briefly about the types of prostitution that we experience as human beings, but spiritual beings. So the different types of prostitution. And one is certainly financial prostitution. So financial prostitution is someone who is enslaved to another, and they go to work and bring them home, bring that individual their money, much like a pimp. Right? Prostitution is the oldest occupation in the world, it is said. Okay? So they go and they work and bring home their money, and they give their check to their slave owner. Okay, this is a type of prostitution, and this is a type of slavery that still goes on, obviously, very much today. I think it's swept under the rug, or it's not in mainstream media, and so most people don't talk about it, because you could be married to your slave owner. Okay, those of you who have been with me early on, I was going to say from the beginning, but those of you who have been with me, the channel is only a year old, but those of you who have been with me for that time, and have gone back and listened to the posts talking about my polygamous family growing up, and that, you know that I mention often how those women who were taken from their families, many were married or in significant relationships when they met my sperm donor, Kevin, and he broke up those families, separated those mothers from their children in a lot of cases, gave them an ultimatum: you go with them or you stay with me. And because of witchcraft, which he's done on me since I was a kid, and he continues to do on them in order to keep them around him, even though he's incarcerated, he prostituted those women, even though he did not have them selling their bodies on the corner, right, in the traditional pimp prostitute relational way. He had them going to work for him, and he did not have a job. His last W-2 employment was at a bank in Chicago in 1980. Okay, so that was his last employment under his Social Security number. He has not worked since, right? And I don't consider being a minister at a church, I don't consider, especially a false one like he was, I don't consider that a job, okay? That's a scam, okay? Just like prostitution is, it's a scam in any form, right? So he would, again, have these women go to work, and they brought him his money, their money. They did not have say-so in how their money was spent. They didn't have say-so in what they got. He would give them money if they needed money. And literally, they had to ask him for it, like I had to ask him for lunch money when I was 11. Okay? So, financial prostitution. Many people feel obligated to others for financial reasons, or others keep people tied to them with witchcraft for financial reasons, right? And they may not have a Ouija board, right? But they may be manipulating narcissistic things. They may have a cluster B type of personality. If you don't know what a cluster B type of personality is, I will also be speaking on a cluster B type personalities at some point soon. And so again, stay tuned for that. But these individuals, they are controlling mechanisms, right? Dark energy. Again, we all have light and dark energy. It's just a matter of what we choose to function in, right? So they function in dark energy, right? They are Luciferians, okay? They are buddies with Beelzebub, okay? And they are jokers of Jezebel, okay? And so financial prostitution. Let's talk about emotional prostitution, okay? When someone is unwilling to allow someone to live freely, they are emotionally prostituting them. What do I mean? Someone who keeps you emotionally tied, and again, this is often seen through narcissistic types of personality disorders, okay? These individuals have you believing that you can't do anything without them. This is, again, one of Kevin's tactics. I remember him telling these women, if you decide to leave me, you will be poor, you will never succeed, you will never find another man, you will blah, 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 right? On and on and on. He would tell these women this constantly, brainwashing them to think, and it worked, to think There's nothing better than me. There's nothing out here better than me than a demonic warlock doing witchcraft against you, taking your money. He convinced many of them. The eldest, her name is Janet Lucille Lucas, or Thomas now. She had a pension with the U.S. Postal Service. Okay, she was a retired postal worker when they met, and she was in her 40s when they met. Okay, in 1980, 86, something like that. 86. And he had her, she was married, had her leave her husband and their 2 sons and go with him. And she followed us to Florida. Okay? Then he had her empty out her 401k. True story. Empty out her 401k and give it all to him. True story. Those women today, none of them, they have no type of retirement, no financial security. This is what a financial pimp does. When he's prostituting you to go to work for him, again, not necessarily on the corner, you could have a legitimate W-2 job. Okay? Amsterdam is a place where prostitution is legal. It's not legal in the States. All right? So that's not a legal occupation. That's why I said that. So, at least not here. And so, he has, now that he's serving 40 to 60 years, he has left us, and he'll probably be passing soon, by the way. Just saying. He is sitting in a prison cell, getting 3 meals a day, and these women are left destitute because he's completely drained them. And they still follow him around. They still listen to him. They still put money in his commissary or whatever that's called, right? Because he still continues to prostitute them financially, right? So emotional prostitution. You can't go anywhere. There's no one better than me. You'll never find anyone better than me. Now, it's different if that is the truth, because you are a light worker and you know your place. You are an earth angel and you know your place. That's different, right? So me telling my significant others, and I have told them, that it doesn't matter if you cheat on me. I'm not worried about that. You know why? Because ultimately, you're going to come to find out that I'm the best damn thing you've ever had. And that's not me saying don't leave me, because you never leave me. Go ahead. By all means, go. Feel free. Cheat on me. Whatever. I guarantee you, you will find out eventually there is no one like him. I can't find another born on the 333rd day, blood transplant, blood filter change on 7/7/17, unconditional love, even after all that he's been through. He loves my children the way that I love my children. He loves my children maybe better than my children. He's willing to sow into my children. He's willing to receive my kids, my fucked up situation. He's what you will never find. And that's what I mean when I say that. You will never find a truer soldier, warrior, earth angel than I am. That's what I mean when I say that. It's not a threat to them. It's saying, feel free to live your life. If you're going to be unfaithful to me, you should expect karma. But I'm telling you, you're not going to find what you're looking for in anyone else. Okay? And so, that's what they found out. It doesn't matter who it is. You can talk to all of them. That they will tell you that. They will tell you that. My daughter's wife, Alexis's mother, she has been proposed to 4 different times. She told me, and this is after we stopped dating in 1996, because she didn't want to leave Florida, right? I was in the military. She didn't want to come to Fort Bragg. So what are you going to do, right? So she told me that she was proposed to 4 different times between that year and 2010, when Facebook reconnected us. And she said no to all of them because she always held out the hope that she would one day run men to me again. I'm not lying. I'm not bragging, right? It's a spiritual thing. Any earth angel, any light worker, they will tell you that. They will tell you that the exes, they eventually want them back. But the answer should be no. Okay? Because they're toxic and they're karmic. and they're not healed. Okay? So there's a distinct difference between knowing who you are and being an evil, manipulating, narcissistic MFer, right? I did a lot of cussing yesterday. I'm trying to calm down. And I was in a different spirit yesterday. Yesterday was, this is how I'm going to put this, and this is how it came to me in meditation one day. I am on the outside a suit wearing, smiling, energetic person, and I could wear jeans and a t-shirt. I'm comfortable in anything, right? But at my heart, at my core, I'm always the soldier in the foxhole. That's who I am. I'm on the front line, and I can't help myself. That's just how I'm made, right? So physically, you might be a nurse. You might be an attorney. You might be a cashier. You might be a general manager. You might be a salesperson, right? But at your core, if you are enlightened, you are some type of ascended, enlightened being, and you function primarily in a certain way. And I function primarily from the foxhole. I'm a spiritual assassin. Okay? And again, there's a difference between that individual and a warlock or someone who's a Luciferian or being controlled by a Jezebel spirit who's out to just use someone. You want to know the difference? Light workers, starseed, we can walk away from situations knowing that we're covered and Most High's got us. We don't need to control it. We simply walk away when we realize our time is not good there anymore. Okay? So another type of prostitution, okay? So I've talked about the financial prostitution, emotional prostitution, and all of that goes along with the mental, is also mental prostitution as well. Again, all that mind control, that is all they're trying to do, is prostitute you out for their own benefit. Whether that is keeping you tied to them for financial reasons, tied to them for emotional support, tied to them for some other type of security, status security, okay? Maybe because of what you do or how you're known in your community. You're a politician or you have some well-respected job. You're a police officer. You're an investigator. You're a senator. You're in those positions. So someone would keep you tied to them karmically in order to prostitute you for their own benefit. If someone is not willing to walk alone, that is an indication that they are some type of pimp, some type of spiritual pimp. Because if you cannot stand alone, you certainly cannot stand with someone else in your energy who's bringing their own energy. Right? So the saying goes, it's cliche to say, but it's true. Most High will never place more on you than you can handle. Right? But how many of us carry so much more than what we actually have to because we don't recognize how we are being prostituted? Or maybe you're the pimp. Okay? So when we look at our lives today, ask ourselves a question. Am I being pimped out? And if I am, how am I being pimped out? And what do I need to do to remove myself from this pimp? Right? I remember watching the movie Hustle and Flow. And Terrence Howard was hilarious. To me, it just hilarious in that movie. And Taraji P. Henson. And it was just hilarious the way he treated her and the rest of those women, and they still stayed, you know. But that's how Kevin was. He pistol whipped those women. He would beat those women. And they would still stay, went to church. The last time I saw Christina, she had a black eye. Right? And so it's just, and she's been with him since she was 18 or 19. Her mother is Janet. So there's a mother-daughter situation there too. Right? So, yeah, and they've been sexually involved with him together and all their menage whatevers over time, over the years and all of that. Yeah. Yeah. So, needless to say, I don't want to see my daddy's dick. I don't want to see my mama's vagina. I don't want to see her ass. I don't want to see his ass. Like, why in the world would I be in a situation like Why would I want to be in a situation like that? But that goes to show you how absolutely deplorable witchcraft can be and how much it can control someone when they are dead sleep spiritually. I mean, really? Yeah. So, again, I challenge us to ask ourselves, am I being spiritually prostituted? And if I am, how? And how do I need to go about breaking these evil spells and the witchcraft and the manipulation that is being done to you by these spiritual pimps? Okay? Ironically, I'm remembering a conversation between Roxanne and I when we first started talking, and this hits so close. This hits so close. Now seeing what has transpired through that false karmic relationship. Now seeing it. When we first started talking in 2019, we'd talk on the phone and we would jokingly, I don't even know how it got started, but I often have come to recognize that even in my joking, there's truth. Right? And so I was joking with her, not at that time realizing what I was saying, but I was talking about, I was like, oh yeah, because I lived in a gated community. It was a townhouse community and in Sanford, Florida. And I remember joking with her about, oh yeah, I'll come out the gate and you'll be standing on the corner and blah, blah. And we joked about that for, I don't know, the first several weeks that we were dating, right? And I didn't remember this until long after I had cut her off and relocated and all of that, right? And healed myself. I thought back and I was like, wow. Because as it turns out, she was actually married when she was dating me, but she did not tell me that. I had to find out by Holy Spirit. Most High told me that, right? When I was going through my dark night of the soul. She never told me. Never. Even till this day. She never said. I told the minister that we were both a part of the house at the Rock of Central Florida. I told him she was married or in some significant relationship when we started dating. And he was going to be the one to marry us. He never went back to her. He never asked her. He never corrected her. He just thought that I was lying. That's why I left that place and religion altogether, right? But he would not believe me, okay? I bet they know now. So if you are being prostituted in any way, mentally, spiritually, financially, emotionally, physically, how can you be physically? They can keep you captive. If someone is kidnapped or adult-napped, that is a type of prostitution. They are holding you captive, and that's what a pimp does. In any form, that's what a pimp does. They hold you captive for reasons that are self-fulfilling. Okay? Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Nehru. You've been tuned into The Encourager. Don't be a pimp and don't be a prostitute.